What's up, my know-it-alls? Gear up, because today we're not just going to any movie review, we're entering the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I've just returned from a cosmic voyage with Baby Know-It-All to our local AMC theater, where we embarked on the latest superhero saga, The Marvels. Don't forget to show some love, hit that like button, subscribe, and become part of our legendary Know-It-All Nation. Your support is the Infinity Stone in our gauntlet. The Marvels is that rare blend of space odyssey and superhero spectacle. Picture this. You're on a roller coaster through the stars and not exactly sure of the next turn, but, loving the thrill. It's that kind of fun. A popcorn flick with superpowers. Now, I gotta be straight with you. I am one of those people who I enjoyed the Fantastic Four, the first two, because they were fun. Not because I thought they were going to be hard-hitting, Oscar award-winning movies or whatever. So for me, I've also not been overly enthusiastic, prepared for this movie, mainly because of how I didn't identify a whole lot with the Captain Marvel movie, nor did Baby Know-It-All manage to finish or make it past the second episode of Ms. Marvel. I did watch WandaVision, so I was very familiar with where the powers, Spectrum's powers came from, Monica Rambeau. Part of the problem that I had going into this was, how do people know some of these backstories, especially when some of the things were just kind of dropped in as lines? Well, we'll get into all that. So the shining star of the celestial journey, for sure for me, is Kamala Khan. Iman Vellani embodies Ms. Marvel with such authentic enthusiasm. You believe she leapt right out of the comics. Her mom is ridiculous. There's this one scene, you've all seen it in the trailers, where they're fighting and they're switching bodies and whatnot, and her dad gets knocked down by this Kree guy with a spear, and he goes to stab. And man, daggone it, if Ms. Marvel's mom didn't just leap out in front of him and like, no, and you're like, what if Captain Marvel didn't show up? Okay, so her mom, hero in my book. And then of course her Spectrum, portrayed by Tiana Paris. She's a powerhouse. She's got the potential that's just waiting to burst out into the scene. Though her backstory is really brief, it sparks curiosity. Marvel, we're ready for more. So these characters navigate the vastness of a universe filled with grand ideas that might have you scratching your head if you're not versed in the lore of the comics. But let's face it, I know a bit of mystery in the cosmos is kind of part of the adventure, isn't it? Now, the issue I have is not that this story is nothing like the comic book stories, but what it does do is it jumps around a lot. And if those of us who are familiar with reading comic books, we're familiar with the idea, like I was able to keep pace. I was able to keep pace when they're throwing out concepts and talking about things. I was very much able to keep track of what's going on. Now, on to Captain Marvel herself. Brie Larson's portrayal, it still feels a little less like the fearless leader we're used to and more like she's navigating through an asteroid field of emotions. It's a different vibe, sure, but it adds kind of a new layer to the character's journey, at least I think so. We haven't seen much from her. Her own movie, Captain Marvel, to me, she felt very flat and one note. She's not that much better in this. They play her cold and dispassionate. The problem is she's already been cold and dispassionate. So I get it, like, when you see the context of the story, I'm not spoiling anything, you're gonna go, oh, that makes sense, I get it, I understand. But the problem is, she didn't have that in the first movie. And she was cold, dispassionate, very one note. So even though this feels more in line with the plot and the story, such that it is, and the story overall, I still feel like we're missing something. Because she's coming across not great, not very warm whatsoever. The film takes us on a narrative spacewalk where the backdrop of each character's past seems like it's a constellation of untold stories, teasing us with tales of what could have been. I guess kind of a cosmic what if? The other issue I had with this is, who's this guy with the eye patch? Because it's not Nick Fury.
Friend of yours?
Hi.
This isn't the hardened agent we've known. He's almost different. It's as though we've slipped into an alternate universe where Fury's just a tad softer around the edges. Intriguing or interdimensional confusion? You be the judge. So there you go. Now you know, and if knowing is half the battle, you're halfway to being a know-it-all yourself. What's a know-it-all index for Marvel Studios' The Marvels in theaters right now? Well, Baby Know-It-All and I talked it over in the car, and we absolutely agree. We both give it a solid 7.5 out of 10. It's a spectacle that's worth your time, not for the critics, but for the sheer joy it brings. And remember, don't just take my word for it, see it for yourself, and let your own cosmic compass guide you. Stay tuned for the spoiler-heavy review coming out on Sunday. You won't want to miss it. We're going to unpack every single detail, the things that worked, the things that didn't, what I thought has gone on, what I thought has happened. We'll even talk about the end credits scene. Technically should be scenes. It's there was one right at the very end of the movie, which is the final scene of the movie, and then which we thought originally was we were speculating was going to be one of the end scenes, and then there is an end credit scene that does offer some surprises. I'll unpack that, talk a little bit about what it means. All right, guys, I'll talk to you very, very soon. Comment below. Let me know what you thought of the movie. Are you even going to check it out or are you just going to wait until it hits Disney Plus in due time? Never forget, everyone loves a know-it-all.